Hello the English speakers and welcome to the sick house street. Yeah, hospital in Swedish is called sick house or sjukhus. I will teach you some more Swedish, but we will talk about some news about the climate and why not about the Purim War or the Epstein Fury. But let's start by taking a big, deep breath. So if you do something really stupid in Swedish, like for example starting this Operation Epstein Fury, then you have shit in the blue cupboard. So when you shit in the blue cupboard, so this is a very fancy blue cupboard, and it's not supposed to be used as a bathroom because it's for fancy stuff, and then you have done something aggressive and stupid that will piss someone off a lot. So that is what this Operation Epstein Fury that is getting really popular to use on social media, and of course it's now classified as antiseptic. Yep, ADL has approved of the usage, and they say that this is very effective propaganda, and therefore they call it antiseptic. They use the wrong word, of course. If you don't understand the meme that I put of it, why is that eagle getting rotated by this Epstein Fury? It's because it's something called kaparot, and then you transfer all your sins, in this case to a bald eagle, and then your sins will be killed with the bird. So that's evil. But at this time we know the enemy pretty well, and everyone who listens to me or to you, they know who the enemy is. But the important thing now, as I have explained many times, whom can you trust? So that's a big question and much harder to answer because there are traitors everywhere. We will have some example from South Korea today. I do recommend that you use the list, everyone who believes in the climate scam, or actually it's okay to believe it, you are just badly informed, but if you really push it, just so that you can pleasure Satan and get rewarded for your pushing of something that you do not understand. Just the only thing you understand is that it's good for your career. Then you are evil. And even if you get smarter, people should never trust you again. So, the climate, it's now debunked when it comes to carbon dioxide heating up the planet, and this they have really tried AI to dispute what they have found, and it's really hard. So there is something called Earth energy imbalance. So this is what happens when the planet is heating and it suddenly starts to eat heat because, well, it absorbed it, and with some magical process the CO2 in there will work like a heat pump or something. It does work like a heat pump actually, but that's for all the gases in the atmosphere that cause heating here on the surface. But this heat imbalance, you can measure it, and you can look at the temperature on the surface, but the surface doesn't say much because all the heat can go up and down in the oceans that have a lot more capability to store a lot of heat and can do it pretty fast. But you can measure the temperature of all the oceans. You have something that's called Argo, and this Argo, they are small measuring devices that you sink up and down in many places in the ocean, and in that way you can get an average of the average temperature of the ocean. No, you can't. You can get in the ballpark of the correct temperature of the oceans, and the estimate is so bad that it's way off, and yeah, it's many times more uncertain than this Earth energy imbalance that they have calculated. Their uncertainty is way bigger than this mythical imbalance that does not exist. It doesn't work with the physics. They just made everything up and they spent billions on it. There are some people on the left that we start to talk to because they are not insane in the same way, but they tend to want to help the poor. And you can ask them, why don't you start a company so you can employ all the poor people that don't know how to do it themselves? No, they just want to give the money away. No, they don't want to give their money away. They want to give your money away. And there you realize that they are not useful. But good idea. Everyone should help the poor by employing them. We do have companies that do exactly that in Sweden, and that is something that has been done historically, and I think it's a great idea. Even if you are very retarded, not in an insulting way, but if you actually are well, mentally challenged, then you can do some stuff at least and do it pretty well. You might need some economical and practical assistance, but I think that everyone can be useful unless they are destructive. Then of course they can't. They have to be locked up somehow. It turns out that finally Elon Musk and Nikita Beer realized that deleting people from X, delete them from X chat and all their money, and they have not yet realized that this actually destroys for all companies of Elon Musk. If you have been deleted from X and all your posts, so that others, that I have plenty of posts from Use Yandex, for example, and they deleted her, so I can't access all my bookmarks and links to those. So they destroy for other people just because they don't like what you are posting or the way you are posting. So that's really shitty, but at least now, according to Nikita Beer, if you are deleted, you should be able to use at least the chat. And the only funny thing in this story, it was Melissa that said how bad it was. But she is a small account, but she eventually managed to find someone who knows someone in X, and then she could get restored. Otherwise, it's very hard. You have to be really big on other media and really bitch about it. And also Cernovich, he has 1 million followers, and he's also a total shit. He went after some of the Epstein victims, and he's close to Alan Dershowitz, that is of course Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, and not someone you want to have on the same planet as any kind of children. Senator Chris Murphy, I have no idea who it is, except that he's a Democrat from Connecticut and he's a senator. But he was reporting from a briefing with Trump and the Trump administration about the Purim War, or the Epstein Fury. And it was a 2-hour, and they keep all these briefings are private because the Trump administration, they can't defend this war because it's as bad as shitting in a blue cupboard. And the goal is apparently no longer to destroy the nukes or the nuclear program that Iran has. That's no longer the goal, according to Chris Murphy. And regime change is neither the goal. The goal seems to be destroying a lot of Iran. That seems to be the goal, and the real goal is that Netanyahu wants, because Shabbat was telling Netanyahu, you must prepare for the third temple, because we are total lunatics. And Witkoff, he didn't know himself how will this end, how can this war end, and he had no idea whatsoever. I will warn you, that video was cut by Aaron Rupar. Rupar is infamous for cutting videos so that they make the one appearing in them appear saying the opposite of what they are saying. But I haven't heard any kind of explanation for this war that makes sense. Just a bunch of lies and made up stuff, and stuff that are now refuted, like taking their nukes or regime change. That is no longer the case, it seems. But I think they do have a plan, and that's horrible. They will genocide 60 million Iranians. That's the goal. And they are bombing yet another school for children, because they want to liberate them, so they turn them into ashes, because they worship Satan and belong to the Epstein class, and they should all be, well, you know, I will not say that. And they will also force Iran to destroy the Arab states or the Gulf states, because that is what Iran has to do, as they are attacked from these states. So the question is if they can do anything about that. So there is no plan either for the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has a lot of boats and mines and other military stuff that they have in tunnels that USA can't get to. So what to do? Yeah, they have really shit in the blue cupboard. There are some speculations about that outside of Quds, big city in south of Iran, that was nuked, and that Iran also nuked some helicopters. I will not report about that because I think it's out there, but there are some speculations and it fits with the theme. Total destruction is the goal. Total destruction as killing their tax base, that is genocide them. Rania was reporting from Lebanon, where they of course are bombing civilians because they want to genocide. That's the goal of the war, nothing else. The goal is to murder as many as possible, and Rania warns, especially you in the USA, you are next. They are just trying out these weapons on Iranians and on Arabs, and then they will use it on you because they hate you and they worship Satan. Ori Goldberg is reporting from Israel, and the Goldbergs are shaking. They have been attacked multiple times the entire night, and they hear the sirens in the middle of the explosions. So they are not warned at all, and it's nationwide, and it starts to get really bad. First of all, if you read reports and you see C3, that means command, control, communication. So that's a center that you can bomb. It's often used in military communication. And Israel has one of these less now in Jordan, the Samson base. Interesting name, if you know about the Samson auction. I've listed on my Substack all the list of the attacks of the 34th, 35th, 36th and 37th wave. So there are a lot of waves that are coming and destroying things all over West Asia, and especially on Israel. So this Orot Rabin power station that was attacked, and it supplies 20% of all the electricity to Israel. So here you see another Douglas fir, and we only have 3 in Ljusdal, so you have yet another here and one further away. So maybe we have more, who knows? They come from the Rocky Mountains, so the west of USA. And they are not the fir, but the pseudotsuga. So if, there are out of power in Tel Aviv, and it was from the 8th to the 10th of March. But on the 11th, no, on the 10th again, they got hit and there was a blackout, and it's still blackout, according to Grok. So if they don't have any kind of electricity, how could they run a society? And of course the desalination plants that support 75% of Israel's water, they will of course not work without water. And what about the military and most of the things, communications, etc. But Israel says that their security cameras were hacked by Iran, that have been looking at what is happening on all the security cameras, or a lot of them, in Israel. So this is of course convenient that they can take all these cameras away, so that there will be no documentation about the carnage in Israel. They really try to cover everything up, but a total blackout with no electricity, that is hard. You can see that from space, even though they have a lot of emergency power also. But the hacking is probably real. USA, they bombed a civilian bank in Iran and murdered some civilians, because, as I said, they want to murder at least 60 million of them. So Iran has stated that everyone should be 1 kilometer away from any Israeli bank in the Gulf states. And the question is, of course, do they have to bomb the banks in Israel, or do they stop working and communications and electricity don't work? The real, it's even stronger. It's continuing to get stronger, despite that Iran, they can't export food to the Gulf states, what I know of. Maybe they still do that, and they might also import less, because you don't buy a lot of foreign stuff that you don't really need. And of course, I think the biggest reason is that the oil price is high, and Iran is still selling oil to China in massive amounts. The Patriot system, it has spent 600 Patriot missiles to shoot down other missiles and drones in Ukraine. So that is 1,500 days. 600, but 800 have been fired in West Asia in just 3 days. So they are ending their supply of these drones, or these Patriot missiles. So you wonder, what is the goal here? Who is benefiting from this? It's of course Russia, and maybe if you are worshipping Satan, you are happy, like Netanyahu, if he is alive. So is the goal that they will celebrate by liberating their comrade Ihor Kolomoisky, Shabbat, just like Jared Kushner, and he is locked up in Kiev. So let's go to South Korea. Did you know that it was Israel that was behind the Korean War, and their first dictator, Syngman Rhee, he was the dictator of South Korea from 1948, same year as Israel, 1948 to 1960. And his handler was Francesca Donne. She was a Jewess from Vienna, and they married 1933, their second marriage for both of them, and they married in New York. So they married in New York, then with US support. He can pretend to be some sort of nationalist in Korea that he slaughtered by starting this war, the Korean War. And speaking of the Epstein class, the Alexander brothers, of course, they are very close to Jared Kushner. Massey said that their names, at least their last name, Alexander, was redacted from the Epstein files, while Pam Bundy said that there is no crimes that they can find in these files to arrest anyone else, and now they are convicted sex traffickers, those Alexander brothers. So Pam Bundy, why is she still outside of prison? She should be very locked up at this time, unless she was, can blame everything on someone threatening her. That might be one reason why she's not heading for prison, but she should of course not lead the Department of Justice. Massey, he will be challenged in the primary by Eddie Gallrein. So who is this Eddie Gallrein? Trump, he has very good workers like Chris Lascivita. So Chris Lascivita is the consultant that find new people for the Epstein Emperor Trump. We call him the Epstein Emperor now because that's what he's ruling over. Eddie Gallrein, he quit the Republican Party when Trump became the nominee. So that's what they can challenge Epstein with. Thomas Massey with. He has nothing to do with Epstein except that he is releasing all the names from it. So that's looks bad for the Epstein class if they can't find anyone. Also, the absurdity is Trump will now endorse someone who hates Trump. So that makes absolutely no sense, as everything in this Epstein class. And if you want to have a good argument for why Israel needs to be bombed, it's to liberate the Haredi women in Tel Aviv and across Israel that are forced to wear burqa. So that's why we need to bomb them. And of course this argument is bulletproof. There is no Zionist argument against it. If you love someone and want to give them freedom, you have to bomb them, of course. So that's what's happening. There is at least a great thing about everything. There is an alternative to the tiny hats, and that's of course the big hats. The Shabab. And the Alexander brothers, they actually got an award from Shabbat in 2023 because they were such a good, sex traffickers. So that's what Shabbat is doing. And then some fake news that I can make sure that you don't see how bad it is. Someone speculated that there will be a huge helium shortage because Strait of Hormuz is closed. But Qatar only makes 35% of the helium in the world, so there will be shortage, but they will not have to close all the chip factories in the world. The chip factories need some helium, and they will buy it for whatever price they need to pay for it. So don't worry about that. USA produce 44% of the helium, Russia 9%, and Algeria produce 6%. So you produce helium generally by extracting it from natural gas. And Finally, if you're a programmer, you will think that this video is really fun. You can imagine if you have done your code and if it's used properly, then it works just as you have thought. But then you have a tester that will use your code in a way that you haven't thought about, and then everything gets broken, or at least not as you have planned. And even if you're not a programmer, I think you will find that video funny. It's about children's toys in a very good way. But with that, we say goodbye here from yet another Douglas fir, and the other ones are pines, of course, Scotch pines.